So,
in this video, you are going to learn how to finally break the fight cycle. So many of you kind of get in this toxic merry-go-round about fighting about the same things. And you're like, how do we get out of this? We're going to tell you how. But first, we're going to bring on our friends, Ron and Nan Deal. And so...
well, and while we're waiting for them to join us here, everybody has their own fight cycle, okay? So if you're thinking like, oh, well, we don't really fight, you do. Every couple has this one kind of cycle to do. And we're so excited that you're joining us.
You are literally going to learn something that is going to be so powerful. So...
technology, right?
yes.
Give it a second. It should wait.
Do they just automatically
It should
filter?
show up. Yeah. Let's see. I hope so.
Okay. Ron and Nan Deal.
We're waiting. Let's see. Oh,
Okay.
thanks, guys.
Do it. Pink and blue look good together, right?
They do.
Okay.
They're like complementary colors.
All right. So how come?
Let's see. Let's try it. Oh, there we go. Invite. We invited you, Ron. Let's see if that works. Thanks for being patient with us.
Yep. We actually haven't done too many of these like Instagram collabs.
I know. They're kind of fun though.
Yeah. Well.
Well, we'll make sure it happens. If not, we'll figure out. We might even have to restart it. We'll see what happens. Maybe there's a setting that no, because we just did one last month and we were fine.
Is unable to join.
Oh no. Okay. We will be back. Give us a minute. Okay.
Wait, let me try one more time.
Oh, we'll try one more time, but it's probably.
Was it a setting?
It could. Oh.
Hey, we got it.
Oh, hi guys.
Hey, how are you?
Pink and blue does look good together.
Wow.
Hey.
Oh, well, you guys, I want to introduce to you Megan and I's deepest friends, also mentors, Ron and Nan Deal.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
It's great to see everybody. We're so glad to be here. We're super excited.
So much.
Yes, and you guys might look familiar to some of our community because you have done so many wonderful things for Marriage 365 membership.
Yes.
You guys have a couple courses in our app. Ron, I know you've done a few sex videos.
Oh.
To clarify, talking about sex.
Yes. Yeah, let's be very clear about that.
Yes. And but
Wow.
yes, I know.
I forgot to tell you about that, babe. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, actually, one of the things I was looking through our app. So we have about 20 contributors to our membership, and members know this. We bring in experts in areas that maybe Megan and we know about, but we want to bring in the experts.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron is actually one of our top contributors because not only did he
top contributor.
he is, yeah, he is. Sorry.
Other than us, you are next in line.
Yeah. But he's done a blended family course, a smart step family course. He did a course on grieving, which
you guys together and Nan did that too.
And then they helped us walk through something that we're going to talk about during this live that can finally break you free of the toxic fight cycle. And I've told, a lot of people message us and say we have 1,000 fights.
Yeah.
And I said, actually, you have the same fight 1,000 times. And Ron and Nan's going to talk about this. But before we get started, I want to say this. Ron said something that arrested my attention. So I'm going to toot your horn for a second. Okay. Is that all right?
Sure. I don't know what you're going to say, but you can go for it.
I don't know what he's going to say either. So I
think it's always like, whatever.
He's a loose cannon, as you guys know. So.
Ron has spent the last 30 years, you guys. We're talking 1990s. Okay. That's old.
See the gray hair? See the gray?
I'm not that old.
Well, he's been counseling people, educating people. He's a national speaker. Ron's written over 10 books. I mean, he has done a lot for the marriage space. So he is an expert by just putting in that amount of hours. And he said this right here, what we're going to talk about, was one of the most powerful things he's ever come across. That caught my eye, where I was like, okay, I want to know what's impressed you so much. So, anyways, before we get started, too, I want to just say Ron and Nan have been married 39 years and just celebrated their anniversary.
We did just last Saturday. We celebrated our 39th anniversary. We're old,
We are.
but hey,
What'd you guys do? What'd you guys do for your anniversary?
We went to Hot Springs and we took, oh, I don't know if you know, in Hot Springs, they have these baths, the Hot Springs.
it's why it's named Hot Springs. It's national park, hot baths.
We got a couples massage and we soaked in the hot springs. It was relaxing.
We live an hour from Hot Springs, Arkansas. We had never been there. We'd always heard about the hot baths and, you know, you got to go. And so we just went and tried it and it was marvelous.
And Hot Springs is known for the Gangster Museum.
Because the gangsters used to go there in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Hot Springs was illegal gambling. Al Capone, all the New York gangster folks, they all went to Hot Springs to vacation together.
And
Shining?
yes, all of law enforcement just turned
Yeah.
their eyes and said, yeah, whatever you want to do in Hot Springs, you can do.
And
No
here's
kidding.
and here's the thing we learned that was amazing. Okay, Major League Baseball spring training is where? Florida, right?
Yeah.
Except before Florida, it was Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Because of the hot springs, the athletes would soak.
The athletes needed it for their
I
physical.
thought it was Arizona.
No, before that, it was Hot Springs.
Hot
Before
Springs.
everything, it was Hot Springs. So you would have Lou Gehrig and Al Capone sitting in a hotel bath having a conversation. Like,
That's
can
interesting.
you imagine?
Wow.
That'd been awesome.
Anyway, we had a great time.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
we
so
did.
happy. You know, it's really neat when you can meet another couple who you guys have not had an easy road. And I want to say that for anyone listening, whether you're watching live or the replay, what I love about you two is that you've had some huge challenges and hurdles you've had to overcome. So this is not a couple that's like, we just fight about socks and, you know, we just have some differences. Like, no. And I mean, significant loss and grief. And I know you guys were heading towards divorce at several points in your marriage. And so what I love is that you're still here, able to laugh, smile, and be like, let's celebrate our 39th wedding anniversary.
Yes.
And just this, well, I guess not this year because it's 2025, but in 2024, you became grandparents too.
We did.
And that's huge,
we're having,
right? Because
we're having fun. It's great.
Yes. And you're in this a completely new chapter of life. And so, well, what should we say to get started here, babe?
Okay, listen, I want to connect those dots, what you just said. Because what Casey just said a minute ago about what is something that has impressed me, and I will just come out and tell you. We've just released a new book, The Mindful Marriage. Woo-hoo, your copy, our copy.
I love the cover.
I know, I do too.
And here's what's fun about this book.
Wait, if you look at the brains in the people, mine is bigger, just so you know. I just want everyone to know my brain is bigger than his.
I didn't notice that, but now I will never not notice that.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Actually, I think it's all women. All women have bigger brains, I think.
Probably.
I think that's the way it rolls.
Amen.
So this book is our testimony of our mess and all the challenges that we faced and the counselor therapists we discovered that saved us more than once.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we then, now 17 years after that initial conversation with Dr. Terry Hargrave, partnered with him to bring the principles he teaches at an academic setting around the world. We're now bringing that to the world in the form of this book in a user-friendly version for the very first time.
Yeah.
We are so excited about this stuff.
I like to say 3 therapists and a regular chick wrote a book. And it was so important to me to be a part of the project because I wanted to put the cookies on the bottom shelf for people like me.
Thank you.
Because you're welcome. Because Dr. Hargrave's work and just the way he thinks and writes, if I read anything academic of his, my brain just gets, I'm on overload. And so I knew that this needed to be put down on the bottom shelf for all of us. And that's how he was when we were in his office and asking for help. he lowered the playing field,
Yep.
and he just got down to
Mhm.
to it. And this is his work that has been training therapists for a long time.
Yeah, around the world, people are using this in academic settings, clinicians. It just hasn't been in a user-friendly version for the average person. Now,
Yeah.
I got to brag immediately on the two of
Oh.
you,
Mm.
because what a lot of your viewers may not know is that a year ago, we partnered with you guys and created a course on Marriage 365
Yeah.
with the principles of this book. We were in the process of writing.
Yeah.
You guys brought it to the world before anybody did.
We're your
And-
test dummies.
Well, I think actually Nan called us our victims, but
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
guinea pigs.
Guinea
yeah,
pig.
guinea pigs.
Guinea
pig.
She
Guinea pig
stopped
is
herself when she said victims.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but I want to get into this, but I do have to say, I love what you said, Nan, and that is putting the cookies on the bottom shelf, because for most of our followers, they're not reading higher ed kind of level
Right.
stuff.
Right.
They need practical, like, give it to
Yep.
me straight. And what I love about this model,
Mhm.
it is extremely, it's simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's not.
Not simplistic, but it's very simple to understand. So it's
Yeah.
very approachable.
Mhm.
You can play with this in a lot of ways. So
And I think what I love is you can do it on your own, which
Yes.
is huge,
Yes.
right? Like that's, again, I know, Ron, I remember that first dinner we had when we met you in person, and it was like our tagline at Marriage 365, if you want to make a better marriage, make a better you. And that's when you started talking about this
Yes.
whole pain piece and what's in
Yes.
this book, because you're like, that's the ownership that people don't know they have. There's so much freedom when you read this and go through this. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa,
all right,
this is
so
life-changing.
let's get into this. So couples get stuck in this cycle where the topic may change, but they kind of go through the same patterns. Why don't you walk us through, like, what you've seen in other couples, and then, like, how did you break that out so that way people can now understand that pattern and then break that pattern?
Yeah. So every one of us, there's an in between and there's an inside me. And those two things come together in this material. What's inside me is how I react to pain. And pain is when I feel criticized. Pain is when I feel like I'm not good enough at my job or for the world, or I'm not a good dad, or I just have a bad moment, or like everybody's pain. We're hypersensitive to different things, and that's part of what you'll discover in this. What's your hypersensitivities, and how I react to those pains is actually pretty neurological. Once you reach adulthood, you've pretty much set inside your brain, it's embodied, how you're going to respond to somebody cutting you off on the highway, or your spouse offering criticism that makes you feel unloved. Like, you pretty much are going to react the same way, and it breaks down into 4 basic types, and we can flesh those out if you want: blame, shame, control, and escape. We do one or more of those things. And then the other piece is the between. So when I feel that in a moment and I offer blame, shame, or control, it probably more than likely taps into her pain. And then she offers me blame, shame, and control, or escape. And then I offer her more of that, and she offers me more of that, and we just get a thumbs up. And
Yeah. And then that's the cycle.
and there's
That is
the
the cycle.
1,000
Yeah.
dance, like the argument you have 1,000 times.
And the pain can start in marriage when you say I do and you come into this relationship. But really, it's already started. It's that baggage that you bring in. It really starts, it can be another relationship, a previous relationship, pain from that and the loss of that, or the death of a partner. It can be from childhood.
Yeah.
Those ruts and those pains that start back then. Or there can be pain thrust on your marriage, like for us, the loss of a child. That was something that we didn't bring in, but it happened then. And our coping for that was already ruts that were already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It just was exposed to because of the death of your son.
Right.
It was out there
Mhm.
and it was ugly. And you guys were both hurting.
Right.
And let me say too,
Yeah.
one of the things I loved is, so Ron, you opened up about a story where you said to Nan, "Hey, let's go to a concert." And
Yes.
and I love it, because there's a lot of times in relationships, law of unintended consequences, we call it, where I want to do something great for us,
Right.
right? But
Yes.
Nan had a different expectation. This was just going to be you two. And you're like, so who should we invite? Which then spirals into a fight.
Yeah, this is a good example of how quickly you can go from a good usness, as we like to say, a healthy usness, to a wait a minute, we're against each other usness,
Yeah.
and I don't know where I stand. And it can happen in a nanosecond, and it's because of this internal dysregulation. That's the neurological term for I just moved into a painful place in my brain, and I'm now reacting with blame, shame, control, and escape. And so the story is, I said, hey, you want to go on a date? This was
Yeah,
quite.
I'm about to tell the backstory, but it didn't make it in the book. So go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Tell your side.
So we'll get his story and her story. So, we've always kind of struggled with what are some things that we have in common that we like to do,
Hobbies.
leisure time stuff, things I like or not things that she likes. And so we've always looked for that. Well, I asked her one night, let's go to a concert. And she introduced music to me when we were
I love
dating.
music. I love a good concert.
She knows far more about it than I do. She's taught me so much, and so I asked, she said yes, she lit up. And I'm like, okay, this is good. I felt like I had a win, a little good moment as a husband, and she was excited, and that was great. My second thought after she said yes was sometimes she likes to go with other couples. So then I said, well, who else could we ask to go with us? And everything changed at that moment in time.
Okay, the backstory is we hadn't had a date in a while.
Mhm.
And I had been sharing him with everyone for a season. Everybody had a piece of him, but me. He's asking me to go on a date. One of my love language is quantity and quality time. Quantity. I need quantity time, especially if he's been going and blowing and doing for so many other people. And here we are in the throes of raising 3 kids, and he says, I want to go out with you. I want some time with you. That to me was saying, I just want to be with you, Nan. And then when he throws other people in there, then I got to share.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's this now?
So did you go into blame, shame, control, or escape in that moment?
I do all of them. Yes. I'm a classic 4.
Just
Yes.
all of them.
All
Yep.
of them.
I blamed him.
Okay.
I shamed him. And I shamed myself because I blamed him. I'm like, oh yeah, this is typical you doing all of this. And then the shame is, oh, I guess I'm not enough. And then the control is, I'm going to talk it to death. And I'm also going to archaeological dig and bring up your who you're like and
Your
label
mother,
you, your dad, everybody. Yeah. And then I am going to escape by withdrawing from you. I'll probably withdraw sexually later, and I'm just going to pout and give you the silent treatment.
And all of those things, here's what's really crazy. And
I'm really good at all 4.
Everybody needs to hear what I'm about to say. We all do one or more of those things at different moments in our life when, in this case, she went from feeling important and special to unimportant and not special, right? That was the dysregulation moment. I'm not really important to him. And so the blame, shame, control, and escape are attempts to get usness back. Now that just sounds a little stupid when you say it out loud, but it's true. We get really goofy when we're trying to get the other person to come toward us.
Goofy. It's a great way to put it. Yeah.
We'll try bizarro tactics because in our mind, we're in pain. We're thinking, well, this, if I lecture him, then he's going to get it.
Right.
And I understand.
And I just see a bunch of bottles on the countertop, and Nan just was like this. Take them all. Let's go.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
I'm in pain. Let's go. Let's do it all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as soon as she goes into one or more of hers, guess what? Now I'm feeling criticized and not enough, and inadequate is my major pain for me. That I'm just not enough, not going to measure up, not good enough. I try so hard. I perform. And in this case, I got a yes. And then I got a no, you're a jerk, kind of. So that taps into my pain that preceded her. Very important.
And then it's this vicious cycle of us both bumping into our pain cycles, bumping into each other's pain cycles. And then we probably would have stayed stuck for about a month.
Yeah.
Easy.
And we'd finally unwind it, but not really
Not
resolve
really.
it. And
Not
we
really
certainly
resolved it.
and,
Yeah.
and here's the thing, guys, we really didn't know why we ever react in the first place,
Right.
let alone what to do once the reactivity starts. That's what the mindful marriage does. It helps people sequence. You will map and sequence this same fight for you, not Ron and Ann's fight. That's not going to be helpful, but your fight. It's really personal. You're going to map and sequence that, and then you're going to learn a strategy, a process for moving out of that stuck place so you don't have to do that anymore. We had the triggers still happen. We had something that came up 2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Monday morning.
Monday morning. And
Nan knows the time. 8:52.
7:32 Monday morning.
and let me tell you, hallelujah, that little moment took about 3 minutes for us to manage. 3 minutes
Wow.
compared to what used to take 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now we're not fixed.
No.
I mean, we are still actively working on us all the time, but we do know a plan. We do have a process.
Yes.
And it is making huge difference in us.
Can I just say something real quick? Because we're talking about something called the pain cycle. And in the book, they actually talk about identifying, and here's those 4 categories that Ron and Ann are talking about: blame, shame, control, and escape. And there's like all sorts of different ways that shows up. And just, it's so cool is because here, let's get one from me. It's so cool because you get to really pick through like your menu item of like, these are the things that I do. Then once you fill it out, I think so powerful, guys. Like you said, once you identify
the awareness,
awareness of it, it is so life changing.
Okay.
Because now you see that.
Hey guys, can we walk down memory lane just for a second?
Yeah, but I want to say this because I saw 3 or 4 comments of people saying, "What's the name of the book?" And so you can get it on Amazon. It's called
it's backwards. Don't you love it? You can't read it. It's called The Mindful.
The Mindful Marriage. You can get on Amazon, right?
You can get it anywhere, wherever books are sold.
Yep. Awesome.
It came out officially yesterday, so it's available everywhere.
And let me just say, I have to give this caveat. Everybody that follows us at Marriage 365 knows we are extremely picky with marriage books. And Nan, you alluded to it. A reason why is because I don't want to get into theory. I don't want to go that route because most people aren't going to read it. I want it to actually work and be something that a husband and a wife could read, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if your spouse isn't on board, that you could take something away from it.
Definitely.
That's this book. Yep.
Okay, so let me show you a little clip of you. Because you may not remember this, but we recorded this. This is part of your marriage course where people can go and watch you guys learning your pain cycle. And here's a little clip. It's a little awkward, but watch this. Okay, here we go. A little bit around unknown and insignificant. I'll back it up a little.
What's interesting is those words stuck out to me, and it's all from my childhood because I grew up in a home where I was never checked in on, never asked how I was doing. My parents got divorced. I was the good kid of all the siblings, and so I was just kind of there existing. And oftentimes I've noticed when we have conflict, I don't feel like he really understands me.
Yeah.
He understands my heart. So if I can lecture him to understand me, then I'll feel significant and I'll feel known and I'll feel more controlled in a situation.
Exactly.
Because I don't like feeling out of control because my childhood was very chaotic.
Yeah.
So let me connect the dots to what you just said. What you just said is when I'm in pain, I do this to make him change.
Yeah.
Because the theory is, if I can get him to be not this guy, my pain will go away.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you, you will spend the rest of your life never making your pain go away by changing him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mic
Now,
drop.
mic
So
drop.
good.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing we discovered 17 years ago. That most of us spend our entire marriages trying to get the other person to be different so my pain goes away.
You can heal my pain. And it's like,
It's a fireworks. I love it.
I guess I just did. I don't know what.
yeah, something fancy you did. Yeah. Yeah.
And it won't work. And not only will it not work, it makes things worse because I'm trying to change you. You're trying to change me. All we do is tap one another's blame, shame, control, and escape mechanisms. And we just chase our tails. What will work? The subtitle of the book is Create Your Best Relationship Through Understanding and Managing Yourself. not him,
Wait, if you
or
Wait,
wait,
not managing your partner?
not managing your partner,
I
not
hate
changing,
this.
not changing your
I
partner.
hate to say it. Now you're going to learn to respond to them differently. You're going to learn how to respond to one another different. Like there's a lot of into this. This is not simple. Like you said, we dumb it down and make it user friendly. But the first change has to be me managing me,
Mhm.
not managing her.
Yeah.
Now, we do want to say this. We don't ever want anyone to stay in an abusive situation.
We're not saying that.
We are not saying that
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
That is when you set a boundary and you get out
Mhm.
and you get help.
Yeah.
For you, if you have children,
Mhm.
we are not saying that.
In fact,
Yeah.
we're convinced that as people work through this material and they,
Yeah.
first of all, discover that I am worthy, even if I am inadequate. Like for me, that was a huge realization. Like even when she's mad at me, I'm still okay as a person. Now,
Yeah.
I need to attend to what's bothering her, but I got to manage me. And the first thing is recognizing my worth and value in this world. And somebody who's in an abusive, physically abusive situation, we'll just end it with this.
Yeah.
You need to recognize your worth and get out and find safety. Only
But
then might you be able to
yes.
affect the relationship in a
Right,
better
right.
direction.
Yes, because that's the issue. When people see abusive situations, they say, why did someone stick around? And you're like, they didn't know their own worth.
Right.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
and this is kind of where when you see someone that's really confident in their marriage and they're not easily triggered, it's because they know their own worth. That doesn't mean though, like you said, that the pain magically goes away, but your 3-week fight is now 3 minutes.
Yes.
Your pain that probably felt like it was gallons, huge weight on you, is hopefully we want to see progress over perfection,
Right.
that it's becoming less and less.
So let's go back to the concert thing. What was Nan wanting? She was wanting time with Ron. But in that moment, I wanted him to read my mind.
Yeah.
If he loved me so much and he was being this fabulous husband, he'd know not to ask other people.
Mhm.
He'd just know what I needed. And then when I start pouting and I start withdrawing, he'll just come and chase me and just kind of try to draw it out of me. And do you see how kind of immature
Mhm.
that is? Whereas new Nan, using these principles, can say, oh, that's really not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been missing you. And can I ask for what I want tonight? I really want a concert just with you.
Mhm.
Maybe let's save the couple time for another time, but we haven't had a date in a month and I was really just wanting to be with you. The concert sounds great, but let's just make it us. How's that sound?
And Nan, if you would have said that, Ron, my assumption is you'd been like, oh, that sounds great.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I literally was, remember, I was chasing her heart in that moment. And I was trying to figure out what else would, be attractive to her. And so absolutely, that would have been an easy response. And I'm listening, as I'm looking at it, I'm realizing the sun is setting here in Arkansas. And it's getting darker.
Dark.
So I'm going to turn on the light. Keep going.
Okay.
Well, and I
Nan,
think
Nan, actually, I want to ask you a question because I
Sure.
think this is so good. When I think about, oh, there you go. When I think about when we respond out of pain, we're responding out of the insecurities that we have, right?
Sure, sure.
And so I was wondering if you could just say something about that because one of the turnarounds is so we all have insecurities. No one's 100% confident. Okay,
Right.
maybe they're narcissistic if that's the case, but we all have areas of fear, thoughts
I'm not enough.
that lie to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And that's
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we're operating out of that. Okay,
Yeah.
but the turnaround is when we actually speak truth about who we are. Maybe you can say more about that.
Because I know that that's in the book and we don't want to give too much away because it's a big concept.
Sure.
But
Yeah. So for her in that moment, part of what she was doing was calming her reactivity. Hey, I can't snap. I can't get sharp. I can't do the critical controlling stuff. And
Right.
By the way, just because Ron doesn't show up for me, does that mean I'm not valuable in the world? Does that mean I'm not somebody of worth? That's reminding yourself of the truth. And we think that there's a spiritual capital T truth that orients all of us in life. And when we tap into that within our relationship with God, that gives me a home base. But I also think there's a lowercase t truth where I just come to accept and understand that, for me, I'm not speaking for her now, for me, it's, yeah, even when she's disappointed in me, that doesn't mean I'm a horrible person. And I can act grown up, not act like a child when she's disappointed in me. That's my job, to act like a grown up.
I think for me, the times that I'm triggered, like this past Monday, triggered. What I did was, wait a minute, what's going on with me?
Yeah.
Because
Check in.
all he said was, I've got a lunch meeting with a couple of guys. And
It tapped into some fear in her, like,
Yeah.
oh no, here comes more work.
yeah, more work, more things he'll say yes to that will take him away from me.
Yeah.
That's always been the MO. And going to lunch. Oh, those two men are very influential. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. And I was like, I had to stop. And I said to him, I said, oh, I know what that means. And he goes, what does that mean? And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, zip it. Because really what I wanted to do was spew the blame and the shame.
Yes.
And so I stopped and I had to check in my spirit. And I started to breathe and I started to think and I started to ask, okay, what is this saying about me? Oh, this is saying this. And then I thought, wait a minute. I know I can trust him and I can trust him to share this. And I need to share this with him so that we can have a healthy usness. So
I am so attracted to you right now.
Oh.
Wow.
And I think that I'm glad you said that, Ron, because I think that we are attracted to confidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
People
Yes.
who are self-aware.
yes.
And people who also own it. Like, you know what? I notice, like, I'm hurt right now. Better to
Yes.
say that than to be defensive.
Yes.
Exactly.
Defensiveness is a major turnoff, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It-
And all it
But you
does is trigger his
Love me
pain
when I'm
cycle.
defensive?
I don't love it when you're defensive, no.
I thought it was like he's being defensive.
No. If anything, it's the opposite. And I think for me, I just want to share, and then we're going to take a couple questions if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
If anyone, I saw some questions, but if you guys have any for Ron and Nan or myself and Casey, but I think for me, with you guys walking me through this exercise, one of my triggers I've noticed in marriage was when I feel like things are unfair and I don't feel supported. So unsupported and unfair are my two. I have a couple, right? But
Yeah.
those are my pain. Like,
Yes.
and that totally stems from childhood. I wasn't the favorite child. And I often had to be the adult.
Gotcha.
And all the chores were on me, right? So I always was like, I can't wait to get married. This was my mindset. And have a teammate. Like,
Yeah.
get to have fairness and equality. And
Sounds so
we get to
amazing.
do everything together. And it's like not all going to be on me. So funny because I married someone who's not type A responsible, more, flighty ADHD. So many times I can tell all those different fights that we've had that we will still have is when I'm in pain, I'm feeling this isn't fair. I don't feel like I have support. And what's been so neat is you guys need to grab the book and read it because we're not going to keep you in your pain. And you're like, well, that sucks. I mean, we're going to learn about our pain. No, there's a whole piece part of it to where you get to heal and go, oh my gosh, because I will tell you, it has really helped me in the last couple of years of you just introducing us to go, I am feeling like things are unfair right now. And what's going on? And oftentimes it's because I haven't spoken up and said, hey, I would love your help with this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So there's little,
Yes.
that's so beautiful. You're learning little things to deal with that pain. The important thing there is you're recognizing that pain is your pain to manage.
Yes.
As long as you sit around, keep waiting for Casey to finally do everything right so this pain in you goes away, it preceded him. It's going to outlive him. The way you deal with that is not getting him to be different. It's by you learning how to deal with that part of you in a different manner. That's how we grow beyond this stuff. And that's how our usness grows beyond those same fights.
And that's empowering.
Yeah.
It's empowering.
Very empowering.
Because you have 100% control over you.
That's right.
That's what's so exciting about this book. That's what I love
Well,
about it.
let me say something to confidence because the pathway to confidence is actually awareness.
Right.
right? Because confidence is being able to trust in oneself.
Yes.
But if you're not aware, and this is the worksheet right here that we're kind of looking at, and it's really
Oh, that's mine. Watch out.
it really is. It's so crazy because look at how small, look at how short these questions are.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very, very basic awareness exercise, but awareness leads us to a place where I know this about myself. So when I feel that, like I'm confident to know, oh, I am getting defensive right now, and I know that that's not going to be helpful. And it's funny because you said something, Ron, where in that video, the very thing that Megan's trying to do to make me a different person or to alleviate the pain is the very thing that replicates the pain.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And we're just going to have pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this world is full of pain.
Yeah.
We're not perfect people. There are days when we're not bringing our perfect selves to this relationship. We're going to tap into that. But I tell you what, our little triggers and those little ruts and that dysfunction and dysregulation that we would have would last weeks and months. And then it would be this icky, unresolved, it's still there. And no wonder it would keep cycling and cycling and cycling. It was a vicious cycle. And Monday was beautiful. It was 2 minutes. He owned his stuff. He saw me. Have a great day. I love you. I love you. And then later I got this sweet text and it was like, wow, I love our us now.
Oh, I love that.
And it just used to not be.
The book opens with us 17 years ago hitting a wall going into crisis. It's been a great journey and we are thrilled to bring all of this to your people. Got a couple questions that you want us to?
Okay, The Mindful Marriage is the name of the book. You can find it on Amazon.
Barnes Noble.
And I just, I was flipping through and then I saw like a really famous couple actually endorsed it. And I was like, what? Who's that guy right there?
Yeah,
Thank you for doing it.
I did see someone ask, is this something that I can do on my own without my husband? And the answer is
Yes. It's absolutely yes.
Yep.
And we do, there's a section where we address what if you're the motivated partner and the other person's not motivated. We'll try to help you walk through that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And another good thing is this is based off of restoration therapy that was founded by Dr. Terry Hargrave. And there are therapists out there. So if you're feeling like you really, really have some hard things in your relationship, you can look up and find a therapist that has been trained in restoration therapy, and that might really serve you.
The back of the book has a website. You can
Yes.
go and look, find somebody.
And there are some coaches who just recently got trained in it.
Wait, what?
Yes.
And yes. But, and
I want
I
to do
will
the
say, and for those
fireworks
of you watching,
again.
for those of you watching live, feel free to ask any kind of questions. It doesn't even have to be about the book. I mean, it could be something else.
But we really want to talk about ending the fight cycle because that's what this is about, is couples getting stuck. And the last thing that all four of us want you to experience is being stuck and not having a way out. Because that is an overwhelming feeling.
It's horrible.
That is an icky feeling.
Yes.
That's the clinical term. Icky,
Yes.
right?
Well,
You feel
it's exhausting.
hopeless.
Yeah, it's exhausting after a while. You're like, is this how the next 40, 50 years
I
is gonna
thought
go?
marriage was going to be so much better than this. I thought I was getting to have, be with my best friend and my teammate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're waiting for your spouse to fix your pain or heal your pain, I will say from personal experience, the first thing that comes to my mind is an R word, resentment. I think it quickly becomes and moves into resentment, which we like to define it at Marriage 365 as like hurt that has now taken root in your heart, your head, your thoughts. It's everywhere. Like it's living with you, and it travels with you wherever you go,
So let me just try to, because I know time is short. Let me just say to Casey's point, and I just want people to hear us say, we had resentment. We had hard
Bitterness.
years, difficult years. And this is the path out. And we just believe in it, which is why we decided to let our mess be the the narrative where the principles, you get to learn them. So if you're in that place, man, don't give up. Like just keep going. So yes, there's a discipline of learning to manage your own triggers and dysregulation and what it happens to you neurologically, brain, emotions, all of it. And then there's the turning the corner to creating what we call the peace cycle. Pain is what you know, unfortunately. Peace is where you're headed. And it's my part and what I can do rooted in truth. How does that lead to a different kind of behavior? And you're going to map and sequence that. You're going to see it in black and white, and you're going to go, this is the map. This is what I'm supposed to do over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And when you change you, let me just speak to that person. Maybe you feel you're the only motivated one. When both of you are working on it, it's a whole lot easier. But when only one of you is, you can change it. Listen, if you've been dancing the rumba for a long time, like you know how to rumba as a couple and it's ugly, right? When you decide to do the waltz, how long do you think it'll take your partner to keep doing the rumba when you're doing the waltz? Like
Yeah.
rumba makes no sense when you're doing the waltz. There is power in
Interesting.
you taking agency over your steps. As soon as you keep trying to control their steps, now we're back to fighting. But if I change my steps and do so in a kind, decent, gentle manner, it naturally invites the other person to go, well, I'm over here rumbling and nobody will
Yeah.
rumba with me. Why am I doing this? It sort of makes them stop and begin to ponder themselves and what they're doing and how they might join you in something different. That is not a quick process. I don't want
Right.
I don't want to sell that, make it
Yes.
sound easy. That is hard and arduous. But that is the path.
Mm.
And sometimes you need a therapist to walk that out with you. Sometimes you need a mentor couple
We did.
to check in with.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't do it on your own.
Yeah, somebody
But
There's no shame in
yeah.
that.
somebody was
No
asking
shame in that.
No shame in that.
somebody was asking a question. Her and her partner, she stopped drinking and started exercising. So she started doing the rumba,
Okay.
and her partner is drinking and stopped working out, doing the waltz.
And it felt
So-
like they're going two different paths.
Yeah, what would you say to that
Okay.
couple?
Well, first of all, I would say keep moving toward each other. Like somewhere in there, if you just replace drinking with doing exercise and you're still distancing yourself, well, you're still escaping. Guess what? You're not really haven't changed anything. You've just changed your escape mechanism, but you really haven't stopped escape. So this doesn't mean that you're doing something really different or that they're doing something different. So there's more to do. There's more to explore. Moving toward one another eventually somehow is what you're going to move toward. But you can't be stupid and move toward it. You got to do this with some intelligence.
Yeah.
And really, that's what we love about this material is that it's not making you blind. It's
Yep.
not just saying just kiss and make up. No, it's literally going to help you understand step by step what it is that you need to do. And so I would say do the deep dive, work on you, get the book, work through the exercise. Like there's a workbook within this book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You literally are going to map and sequence what's wrong about you and your partner and your relationship. You're going to map and sequence the pathway out, and then you know what it is. Doesn't mean you can live up to it, but at least you know what it is.
Yes. Yeah. And you're going to feel a lot. I mean, really, when you start working on yourself, though it's hard work at first, it's not just empowering, but there is a lot of peace. I think that's the
Yes.
perfect word to describe it. You will find peace within yourself of, look at the stuff that I brought into my marriage. It wouldn't have married if I married Casey or Ron or whoever. I had that hurt, that pain of
Yes.
not, unfairness and unsupported.
Yes.
So being able to realize and recognize where it came from and when it shows up and what are the things and the people, because he's not the only one that's going to prick that pain, right? Could be my mom, could be a neighbor,
Yeah.
could be a friend,
Could be your
my
kids.
child. I was going to say, could be your kids.
Most likely your kids.
Most likely your kids.
Yes.
Especially when they do something just like you and you're like, darn it.
Yes.
But
Right.
that's what's so cool is it's not just for your marriage sake. This
Right.
is something that's going to impact every relationship that you have because
Exactly.
you're going to know your pain and then how you show up in pain, but then also it's going to teach you how to be in peace.
Well, and let me just cut straight to the very end
Okay.
of the book, because what you should be able to do is this little circle maps out the pain and peace cycle of both partners.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
when you've pulled out and identified, here's my pain, here's your pain, then you move into what you guys call the peace cycle, which is, wait, I'm feeling alone right now. But the reality is, the truth is, I'm not
I'm
alone.
not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling unsupported right now. But the truth is, I can actually support myself.
Yes.
Right.
I don't have to act out of that
That pain.
icky, dysregulated feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I can live out of truth, which is I am enough. I am worthy enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smart enough.
And doggone it, people
And
like me.
people
No, yeah.
like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
That's right.
I know that's funny, but I don't want people to hear it's pretentious or something. Like, no, you're going to do a deep dive on what is true about you and where that truth comes from, and it's got to be an anchor that's going to sustain you in the midst of the really hard things. Here's a beautiful thing Dr. Hargrave taught us. None of us are bad all the time. The reason you love this person, the reason you want to be with them day in and day out is because there's something good about them, there's something good about you, and there's something good about your us. And most of the time, you probably have really sweet moments together. But all of us, when we're bad and we're really bad. And all the loving, beautiful things we normally offer one another, we turn off in a nanosecond because we get dysregulated.
Yeah.
That's the critical moment. If we can manage the dysregulation, then the good just keeps coming up to the surface. That's worth fighting for.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think if you can think back about your dating years when there was probably a lot more good, the pain wasn't as in our faces.
Sure.
A lot of couples will say, I miss that. It's like, well, you can still have that. You can get that. We can
Yes.
get there. So,
Okay, so I
right.
want to just again say this is the book, The Mindful Marriage. Ron and Nan Deal really unpack this pain and peace cycle, which is really breaking the cycle of fights, endless fights, the 1,000 fights you've had about 1,000 different topics, but it's the same cycle every single time. And once you know about it, you can break out of it. Now, if you're a member to Marriage 365, we actually have a course called Getting Unstuck. And that course, Ron and Nan both walk, actually, Megan and I, through our pain and peace
That
cycle
was fun.
and kind of use
They're
us
all about
as an example. And then,
but I still get the book because it's gonna do even more than the course. And I
Yeah.
think it's a phenomenal gift to give somebody. And if anything, it's the new year. Give it to a gift for yourself to say 2025 is the year that I am no longer going to live in pain. That I'm going to be aware of it and I'm going to overcome this.
I love this. The question Payne asks, am I loved? That was so good in understanding something about my sense of belonging and my sense of identity.
Mhm.
Yes.
Wow.
This book is a deep dive. Again, it's not our material. We're just helping to teach it.
Yeah.
We know what it's done for us. It is a deep dive. It will
Bottom
help.
shelf cookies,
But
people.
put the cookies on the bottom shelf, and it will help you grow up into your usness that you want.
It's so
Yeah.
good. I'm just
I
sorry.
knew
I'm
it's
just
backwards for everybody,
I'm just
but that's okay. Yes.
I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so proud you guys put this out.
You are
This-
sweet.
Lots
Thank
of questions
you.
about where to get it. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Wherever
Target,
books are sold, wherever books are sold.
Yep.
Target, Barnes and Noble, everywhere.
Yes. Okay, the Mindful Marriage, it'll pop right up. It just launched yesterday. So congrats,
right.
you guys. And of course, if you're part of our Marriage 365 community and you have any questions about Ron and Nan and their book, send us a DM. We'll give you any info you need, any questions about the book or how you can work with Ron and Nan and learn more about what they do because they have incredible resources as well. We love you guys. We're so
Love
excited for this book
you.
launch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
And thank you everyone for listening. We love you all.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.